Narrative writing is a type of writing that tells a story. Its main purpose is to entertain, but it can also teach a lesson or share an experience. A good narrative usually includes characters, a setting, a problem, and a series of events that lead to a resolution. It has a clear beginning, middle, and end. In schools, narrative writing helps students develop creativity, structure, and control of language. It also allows students to express ideas, emotions, and experiences in a meaningful way. To help explain the stages of a narrative, we're going to use this mountain as our guide. Think of narrative writing as a journey. We're going to climb up this mountain together, reach the peak, and then travel back down the other side. Let's start right here at the base of the mountain, the beginning of the narrative. At this stage, the writer needs an attention-grabbing introduction. This is where we hook the reader and make them want to keep reading. Using the prompt or stimulus as a starting point, the writer needs to make some important decisions. First, they decide on the characters. Who is the protagonist, the main character? Who or what is the antagonist, the person, force, or problem that will challenge them? Are there any other characters who are important to the story? Next, the writer chooses the setting. Where does the story take place? When does it happen? Is it set in the past, the present, or the future? At the beginning stage, students should start setting the scene for the rest of the narrative. This might include describing the environment, introducing the main character's situation, and hinting that a problem is about to arise. By the time we leave the base of the mountain, the reader should clearly understand who the story is about, where it is set, and feel curious about what will happen next. As an example, let's use this image as a narrative prompt. It shows a person sitting at a desk with a huge pile of papers and a clock on the wall behind them. The person could be male or female, and they look worried or under pressure. When students are given a prompt like this, encourage them to look closely and really think about what they can see and what they can infer. A great strategy is to ask students to come up with 2 or 3 possible story ideas before they start writing. Often, the first idea that comes into a student's mind will also be the first idea many other students have. That's not necessarily a bad thing. A well-written and engaging story can still score highly. However, if a student can come up with a more original or unexpected idea, their narrative may stand out from the crowd and could earn extra marks for creativity and originality. For example, from this single image, a student might write, 1. A story about a person at work trying to finish a huge amount of paperwork before the end of the day. 2. A story about a student who has left an important assignment until the last minute, with the due date looming. 3. Or a story about someone writing a critical report that must be finished before an important meeting the next day. Let's look at this image as a narrative prompt. We see a girl holding a piggy bank upside down, with only a few coins falling out. She looks worried. In the background, there's a calendar with a circled date, Dad's birthday, along with crocheted items, a guitar, and paintings on the wall. This image gives students lots of clues, and each detail can lead to a different story idea. Idea 1: the problem. One possible story is that the girl's father's birthday is only 3 days away, and she realizes she doesn't have enough money to buy him a present. The narrative could focus on her stress, her sense of responsibility, and the pressure she feels as time runs out. Idea 2: using her skills, crochet. Another idea is that the girl knows how to crochet. She decides to make small items, such as keyrings or scarves, and sell them to friends or classmates to earn money before her dad's birthday. Idea 3: using her talents, guitar or art. A third idea could focus on one of her other talents. She might practice her guitar and enter a school talent competition to try to win prize money. Or, noticing the paintings on her wall, the student could decide that she's a talented artist. She asks a local cafe if they'll display her artwork for sale, and she manages to sell a painting. An unexpected or original twist. An unexpected and more original ending might be that none of these plans work out. Instead of buying a present, she gives her father something far more meaningful. At his birthday, she presents him with a crocheted glasses case, a painting she made herself, and sings him a song while playing her guitar. Her father loves this more than anything she could have bought, because it came from her heart. As you've seen, a picture prompt can inspire many different story ideas, each with a clear problem and a solution. Let's look at our mountain picture again. In a narrative essay, the body of the story is where the main problem is introduced. As the story continues, Tension builds as the protagonist tries to fix or overcome this problem. In longer narratives, there may be more than one challenge, with each one adding to the rising tension. Eventually, the story reaches the climax. The climax is the most intense and dramatic moment in the story. It is the point where emotions are strongest and the main character finally faces the central problem. The choices made here determine what will happen next and how the story will end. This moment acts as the turning point of the narrative, after which events begin to settle. Once the problem has been resolved, the story moves into the conclusion. The conclusion often shows how the main character has changed, or what they have learned from the experience. Sometimes this is where the message or moral of the story becomes clear. Teachers should remind students that spelling, grammar, and punctuation matter. Errors can distract the reader and make a narrative difficult to follow, regardless of how creative the storyline may be. Paragraphing is another key skill to focus on. Students should use a new paragraph when time or setting changes, when a new idea is introduced, or when a different character begins speaking. Clear paragraphing helps organize ideas and improves readability. Effective narratives use imagery to help the reader visualize events. Teachers can explicitly teach language techniques such as similes, metaphors, onomatopoeia, and alliteration, explaining how these techniques add detail, emotion, and interest to a story. Imaginative description should be encouraged. The use of precise adjectives and adverbs helps bring characters, settings, and actions to life, making the narrative more engaging. Dialogue is a valuable narrative tool. It can reveal character, move the plot forward, and break up large blocks of description. Students should also be taught correct dialogue punctuation and reminded to start a new paragraph each time a new speaker is introduced. One of the most important concepts to teach in narrative writing is the idea of showing rather than telling. Rather than simply stating what happens, students should be encouraged to describe actions and sensations in a way that allows the reader to infer meaning. For example, instead of writing, "She walked along the beach," a stronger sentence might be, "The damp impressions of her squelching feet left a trail along the beach." By focusing on structure, accurate language use, vivid description, and purposeful writing techniques, students can develop narratives that are both clear and engaging. This approach aims to support teachers in guiding students to write effective narrative texts with confidence and creativity. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found the tips in this video helpful.